What ironic icon helped create Steve Irwin Day?
Which animal is Steve Irwin's nemesis?
How are Pluto and Steve Irwin alike?
And what prominent Australian award did Steve Irwin get snubbed for, but then some nightmarish character won it instead? Crikey! Steve Irwin! Hello and welcome back to Everything You Didn't Need to Know About. Today we are talking everything you didn't need to know about Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, our next door neighbour in Australia, a wonderful man, God rest his soul. Very religious start to the show. As always, we will be pitching our favourite facts that we found out about Steve Irwin. Whoever has the best fact, of course, will win the greatest prize of the day, which is their own set of car keys. Or khakis, as Americans say. Not car keys. I'm not giving anyone a car.
I get mine in a bowl.
Yeah, but no one else will put theirs in with yours.
That's
Because
right.
I've taken everyone's shorts.
So I was just going to point out that Steve Irwin died as he lived, with animals in his heart. So
Jesus Christ.
We're killing
It's
this.
too soon, Kenny. It's too soon.
Oh, did you know that crikey is like Christ? So whenever we go, Jesus Christ, we might as well just say crikey.
crikey!
Yeah, it's the same as they used to say like zounds, and
Yeah.
that's an abbreviation of God's wounds,
Yeah, of course
which is
it
a way
yeah.
more graphic.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo's got a lot more dark since you just told me that, Jen.
Hey, Jinkies. I don't think that's a. Oh, there probably is.
Oh, that's Jesus's car keys. Jinkies.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, very, very
That was
offensive
my
back in
car
the day.
keys. Gin keys.
Gin keys.
We're Gin keys. Every morning. We're Jin's glasses. We're Gin keys.
Jinky. We're Jinky. But Steve Irwin was great, wasn't he? He was so good.
Really was.
Basically grew up in a zoo. His dad started what would become the Australia Zoo, and then just had Steve around all the time, and gave him
Well, it's
a
interesting.
12-foot python for his 6th birthday.
Yeah.
And then later that year, they moved to Queensland so his dad could start a zoo. And I kind of feel like they got him the python, not realizing it was going to be 12 foot long. And then we're like, oh, we've got to justify this.
Yeah.
We need a
Let's
bigger
look at
It
cage.
will not flush any longer. It's too big.
I was thinking more that wonderful story of the guy who bought what he thought was a pedigree Shih Tzu, and it turned out to be a really fat ferret on steroids.
Like that zoo where they had the dog with the like mane that they stripped around it. They were claiming that it was a lion.
Oh, that was
You
amazing.
never get away with that. I also love that, like, basically you listen to this, you read the stories about his childhood, and it was like he kept getting late for school because he was like catching snakes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it followed on, like his honeymoon with Terry was them going around capturing crocodiles. Yeah.
They filmed it.
Specific.
They filmed footage of them
Yeah.
on their honeymoon and released it, and that became a TV show.
There's other footage from their honeymoon that they filmed that is on a different channel, but
Still a lot of pythons.
The crocodile hunter.
no, I don't like it.
It's great.
Oh, crikey.
To take us back to a slightly more family-friendly space, although actually not really. I looked into his history with crocodiles, and again with the whole like dates not quite lining up thing. So he got a python when he was 6, and then they moved to a zoo. And then when he was 9, he started going into the crocodile enclosures and learning how to handle them. Guess what age he started wrestling crocodiles? Also 9.
Yeah, it was 9.
So in my head, they're like, you're finally mature and responsible enough to go in the crocodile enclosure. Now just be gentle. And he just immediately just runs in and dive bombs onto one of the crocodiles. And it's like, "Whee!"
I heard the story of this. He was in a boat with his dad. His dad was running the motor, making sure the boat was driving around all right. And Steve was at the front of the boat. And he leapt into the water and grabbed this crocodile. And
Also,
then
this wasn't even like a crocodile in an enclosure. That was
No,
like
this was
chill
out in the
and-
wild. And so then the dad, Bob Irwin, just reached in and pulled both of them into the boat.
I reckon he put the brakes on too fast, and Steve just flew out. And he went, and so he's just like, "Oh, great, Steve, you jumped on him. Good work. Don't
Good
yell,
job,
Mum.
wee
Yeah,
Stevie."
No, great."
Steve's all concussed and half waterlogged, and he's like, "Oh, I did good, Dad. I did good."
He's like, "Yeah, you fought the crocodile.
Yeah,
Yourself.
you
You're the
Crocodile,
crocodile
well done,
hunter."
Steve.
So it turns out that Steve Irwin's main animal that's like his nemesis was parrots.
What?
He's like, every time I get a parrot, it bites me. Like, he gets bitten by everything. Like
He
he's
got bitten
monitors,
on the
like,
neck by a snake on live TV.
I was going to
Yeah,
say, that's
it's
not unique to parrots.
Yeah.
He got to the screen, like, look how deep it is. Look at that. Look, it's a razor
Oh.
sharp.
Yeah.
See that white thing there? That's my bone.
Polly want a crikey?
Probably want to crock it.
I did a TV show when I was little, and one of the main cast had a pet parrot. And so we had 3 trained parrots, one for flying, one for sitting quietly, and one for talking. And the one for talking was like the best trained one. So that was like the kind of hero parrot. But one day, for no reason, it used to just sit on this guy's shoulder and just ride around happily. One day, for no real reason, it just leaned over and bit him on the nose, and it bit him in the cartilage, and its beak went right through and met in the middle.
Was it the piercing?
Yeah. And this is like a professionally trained animal actor parrot. Yeah, this is not some random parrot picked up from the side of the road. So the fact that Steve Irwin was getting bitten by them left, right, and centre does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Parrots are
I'm not
terrifying.
I worked at a zoo, and you know, I feed tigers, and I worked with, like, you know, a whole bunch of different animals. And the only 2 animals that ever bit me were a parrot and a hedgehog.
Amazing. So I used to be a dentist, and the only time I ever got bitten was when I was doing a stand-up gig, and some feral woman in the crowd bit my finger.
No!
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say someone brought their pet parrot to the dentist when they were having a procedure done, because that seems unsanitary.
Polly want a filling?
Thom, I'm imagining you as like a Tiger King style character now. I'm going to call you Thom Exotic from now on.
That is my stripper name.
I did have to keep asking you not to wear the leopard print short shorts under your zoo uniform.
They were tearaway.
So if we're talking about Steve Irwin's nemesis, there's the obvious candidate. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to point out an amazing version of Paper, Scissors, Rock to the world, where instead of playing Paper, Scissors, Rock, you have Steve Irwin, crocodiles, and stingrays, right? Stingrays. There you go. So crocodile beats stingray. Steve Irwin beats crocodile, but of course, stingray beats Steve Irwin. It's wonderful.
I see this going down really well with the Steve Irwin appreciation community when we post this to their Facebook page.
I didn't realize that Paper, Scissors, Rock was called Rochambeau. Yeah,
Something
I
else.
thought it's Rochambeau, which is from South Park, which is where they kick each other in the nuts.
Did you guys watch the show? Did you guys watch the Steve Irwin Crocodile Hunter show?
Yeah.
Religiously.
Never seen it.
I was obsessed with it. I'm pretty sure, like, we're talking about Muppets being like my comedy foundation. Steve Irwin, I'm pretty sure, was like my zoological foundation, more so than David Attenborough. But like, it's so parodyable as
That
well.
just makes so
beautiful.
much sense, Thom. I've known you for like nearly 2 decades now. Yes. Yep.
Having
Correct.
been
All the
on
dominoes.
tours that you led when you worked at Wellington Zoo, I completely corroborate this.
It's all falling into place.
But you get away with that in New Zealand, right? But is Steve Irwin really the role model you want for Australian children? Like, I mean, they have poisonous, but platypus are poisonous.
Yeah.
They look cuddly, but
Venomous, Kenny.
Venomous. They're venomous. So
Yeah, because the way that they get you is they lick their elbow spines, which have poison on them, and then they bite you.
If it bites you and you die, it's venom. If you bite it and you die, it's poison.
Poison.
If you both bite each other and you live, it's kinky.
But if you ate a whole platypus, you would die because you'd eat the venom glands on the elbows.
Not necessarily. You can drink snake venom.
People do that, right? People do it to build up the antibodies so that they can then.
That's why my sperm's so low.
well, we're talking about food play. I'll take this opportunity to insult the Catholic Church as well. You can eat platypus on Fridays. So Fridays, you can only eat fish.
Yeah.
You can eat platypus. You can eat
Can you
beaver.
eat ducks and swans as well?
You can eat whales. Yes, ducks and swans because they're on water. So unless you're in the UK, in which case the Queen will beat you up.
Do you guys know what Bindi Irwin has in common with a convicted drug importer?
No.
Is it a strong TikTok presence?
It's that they both won Dancing with the Stars. So Bindi won it in 2015, the US version, and Manu Vatuvai won it here in New Zealand.
That's right.
And yeah, he's I worked on that show, and he was a very lovely man, really energetic. And like he used to grind his teeth all the time, which I told him not to do.
So Bindi's first dance, like Dancing with the Stars. We can all
Crocodile
guess what it is.
Rock.
Hell yeah.
And it was one of her lowest scores as well. Yeah, have you seen her song Trouble in the Jungle? It's a
No.
rap and it's actually quite a good rap, but she is a child doing this rap in front of 4 dancers behind her on the video I watched on YouTube, and it's pretty dated, but it's pretty good.
Her first album was called Bindi Kid Fitness with Steve Irwin and the Croc Men,
Yeah.
which is a lot of words and also
Yeah.
doesn't sound like an album.
Yeah.
Were they wearing Crocs?
Yeah,
the
that was
the
the
Croc
thing.
Men were her backing band, and then she ditched them when she turned like 12 and got the Jungle Girls instead.
You can tell they're croc men because you can see their teeth. If they were alligator men, they'd be different.
That's right.
Did you know that Bindi Irwin's wedding anniversary is the same day as mine? That's how I remember it.
That's also her daughter's birthday.
That's how you remember your wedding.
When's my wedding anniversary again? Oh yeah, same as Bindi Irwin. Did you know that Bindi Irwin was named after Steve Irwin's favorite crocodile and Steve Irwin's favorite pet dog?
Yes.
Her name is Bindi
And-
Sue, named after Bindi, after the crocodile, and then Suey, who is their dog.
Sweet.
Yeah. And then their son came along and they were like, right, we should definitely continue this trend of naming them after crazy things. Let's go for my dad's first name and your dad's first name.
Robert Clarence.
But he loved that dog. Like you watching the shows, he's like, my old mate, hanging here with my old mate Suey. I love her. I love her so much. She's
I
like,
loved it.
my snake.
I genuinely remember crying when I heard that Suey died.
It's sad. But we kill everyone, his old mate. He's like, I'm here with my old mate Terry. Never say his wife. People are like, I love hanging out with my mate Terry. We're having a great old time. I said, watch out, Steve. It's nocturnal. She's like, yeah, no worries, Terry. I've got it. You know, so it's just like my old mate Terry and me. We hang out.
That is the dynamic I remember, though, is Terry kind of being the voice of caution and
Yeah.
reason, and Steve being like, she'll be right. Oh, it bit me. Immediately.
Terry Irwin was born on the exact same day as Chris Cornell.
Coincidence? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was. Yeah, it was. She was a conservationist in America before she moved over to Australia and met Steve Irwin. And the project she was running there was called Cougar Country.
Hell yeah. They got married within a year. I think they got engaged within like 4 months. But I mean, I don't think Steve Irwin does anything slow. Like he basically probably wrestled her immediately.
Ah, she bit me.
But it's also that psychological thing of trauma bonding. So if you hang out with Steve Irwin for like a week, you get as many near-death experiences as most couples would have in 2 or 3 years.
He called them both his old mate, but if he locked both of them in the boot of a car, I bet the dog would be happier to see him.
I found out that that Bindi Irwin was born the day Saving Private Ryan was released, which was nominated for Best Oscar, but lost out to...
Crocodile Dundee.
Of course not.
Crocodile Hunter Crash Course.
It was 98. It was Shakespeare in Love. But then
Oh,
Robert was born in 2003 on the 1st of December, the same day that Lord of the Rings Return of the King came out, which then did win the Oscar. So he got the kid right.
I'm picturing Sam's research for these episodes is now just him like writing down dates and then like stringing it to as many people as he can and be like, look at it, it's all making sense.
That
Friday the
scene in
13th
Always
must be
Sunny
awesome.
where he's just going, it all connects.
I called my son Charlie after him, after Charlie Day.
I thought you were going to say after Steve Irwin. And I was like, but Steve Irwin's name is Steve Irwin, not Charlie. Do you know who is named after Steve Irwin? A species of air-breathing land snail. It's called Crikey Steve Irwini.
Oh, amazing.
Most
So
land
is a-
snails are air breathing.
I'm reading off Wikipedia. If you told me most land snails breathe out of their butts through special pools that they carry around for the purpose, I'd believe you.
Is that what they do?
Yes.
Ooh.
Also named after Steve Irwin, and this is where my fact of the day comes in. So you know what happened to Pluto? Yeah.
Goofy had it put down.
And how it's been relegated to minor planet status.
Yeah.
Out there, in amongst Pluto and all of its fellow minor planeteers,
Are we using the term minor planet rather than dwarf planet?
It's Dwarf Planet.
dwarfs are minors.
You think all dwarfs are children?
No, I was going with the hi-ho dwarfs anyway. But going back to my
Awesome.
fact, there is a minor planet out there called Crikey, which was named in honor of Steve Irwin.
That's awesome.
That means that Crikey could smash into Crikey because there's also an asteroid named after him.
Mm.
It could also smash into Earth, and then we'd all say,
Fuck.
Crikey!
So did you guys know that Steve Irwin has not won Australian of the Year? He was nominated for it in 2004 and lost out to Steve Waugh, the cricketer.
Was it Steve Waugh or Shane Warne?
It was Steve Waugh.
Steve Waugh.
Ah,
That's right.
I thought
To
it
be
was
fair,
Shane
Steve Waugh is a
Warne.
very good cricketer, but Steve Irwin is also a good cricketer, as well as being good at other sports and being the crocodile hunter and basically inventing tourism for Australia.
Yeah, he was voted their best export, their best international export in like
It's tourism export.
Yeah, tourism export. Yeah,
Did Vegemite not win that?
No,
not that.
but that
year.
was the same year that he lost Australian of the Year, 2004.
2004, okay. But
Yeah.
did you know also that the 1965 Australian of the Year was the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is my favorite fact of all time. That creepy guy that goes around stealing children, he won Australian of the Year in 1965 and then was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in 1968 after it had happened. His name's Robert Helpman. He is a fantastic ballet dancer. He's very famous. He's done basically all the choreography that Australia had from when he was born in like 1920 something to when he died in 1986. For the role of the child catcher, he took out his false teeth, which gave him that awful snappy little mouth, and it's creepy and awful. And that's why he's so graceful as that character as well.
I was gonna say, I like the idea that you said that he did all the choreography for Australia for like until he died. Like when he died, they were like, "Geez, now who's gonna do our dances?"
Kylie Minogue.
How are we going to be watching Matilda now?
So he's Robert Helpman, spelt with 2 N's, but he wasn't always that. He was born just spelt with 1 N, but then he did a ballet show with someone who was really into numerology and pointed out that Robert Helpman has 13 letters in it, which is not good.
Dangereux.
Exactly right. So they said you should add another N onto the end of your name, which he did. And that person who told him to do that was Anna Pavlova, the dancer we named Pavlova, our New Zealand's famous dessert that Australia tries to steal.
When you were saying about the Australian of the Year, I had read it that it was Shane Warne that he lost out to, which would have been much more disturbing because Shane Warne is an atrocious human being.
Wouldn't that have been about the time that he
started getting caught out for all of his nonsense and terrible
That was
behaviour?
probably about diet pill time and not so much about.
Oh
Tinder
yeah,
time.
true.
was hair plugs and smoking on the side of the field?
Did you know that Shane Warne and Steve Owen were born in the same tiny suburb of Melbourne?
Amazing, no.
5 years apart. They were both born in Upper Ferntree Gully. Yeah, because Steve Owen moved to Queensland when he was 6. It's unlikely they ever actually crossed paths, but they could have gone to primary school together otherwise, which would have been cute. But then, doesn't Upper Ferntree Gully just sound like that Disney film that was the basis of Avatar?
Fern Gully, yeah.
Yeah.
Avatar just copied and pasted that movie. There was very little change.
Yeah, exactly right.
Sam, I love how you're saying that that Steve Irwin was like a good cricketer and great at other sports because he was like really good at MMA, and the feedback from his coach is like he was surprisingly strong, and if he got you in a grapple, that was it.
No shit, he wrestles crocodiles for his entire life.
But looking into his love of sport, I just loved on his Wikipedia page, there's a line that just said, like many Australians, he was an avid cricket fan. This was seen during his visit to Sri Lanka, where he played cricket with some local children and said, I love cricket, and it's a shame we have to go catch some snakes now. I just feel like it's the most Steve Irwin. Like if you had to explain Steve Irwin in one video clip, it would be him playing cricket with some kids in Sri Lanka and then going, I love cricket. Oh, gotta go catch some snakes now. Bye.
Wait a minute. Sri Lanka. His initials, Steve Robert Irwin, is Sri.
Three.
Oh.
It's all coming together.
Do you think, going back to your MMA, do you think he tried to join WWF, the Worldwide Fund for Nature, and just ended up by
Not
accident?
That's great.
Yeah, he kicked the shit out of a panda, and they didn't let him join after that.
For him, the panda only had one black eye. I did just want to also talk about the ironic icon who helped create Steve Irwin Day, because obviously, oh God, spoiler alert for anyone who's listening, Steve Irwin died. I don't know if we've mentioned that. Yeah, sorry. So Steve Irwin died in 2004, 6?
2006, the same year that Pluto got downgraded from a planet to a dwarf planet. And Steve Irwin's birthday is the 22nd of February, and Pluto was discovered on the 18th of February. Different years, but still close. Almost the same day.
Well, Steve Irwin's birthday is the same day as my dad. So Steve Irwin is my dad, which is pretty exciting to find out.
Whoa.
Yeah, both dead, unfortunately. But when he died, obviously there was lots of like there was lots of like sadness and mourning and stuff. He was privately interred at Australia Zoo, so he's buried on the grounds, which is pretty cool. And then they had a public like memorial for him a couple of weeks after after they had the family funeral. And like 50,000 people turned out, which was amazing. But they used the biggest space at Australia Zoo, which is called the Crocodile. I just think it's a very inappropriate name for a like memorial venue. But a couple of years after that, they decided to have like a Steve Irwin Day to celebrate his legacy and the amazing conservation work that he did and things like that. And they chose the birthday of his favorite animal, a Galapagos tortoise named Harriet, who lived to be 175, which seems slightly like shade for someone who died young.
That's amazing. That's so amazing.
So his Steve Irwin Day is on November the 15th for no other reason than he liked a tortoise whose birthday was that day.
He did discover a species of snapping turtle.
Oh. Did it
Yeah,
bite him?
Crikey.
It's called a
spitting man.
crikey, bloody get it off me.
This feels different.
Terry got Australian citizenship on Steve Irwin Day in 2009.
Aw, that's really cute.
Steve Irwin's 9th to last thing on TV was called Steve's Last Adventure. Did 8 more after he filmed that. Before he died. Oh, guys, we're running out of time. We've got to choose whose fact was our favourite of the day. Let's quickly go back through them.
There's a dwarf planet called Crikey, named for Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin Day is celebrated every year by commemorating the birthday of a really long-lived tortoise to celebrate his tragically short life.
Steve Irwin and Parrots did not get on.
And the Australian of the year, 1965, was the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Kind of related. All right, on the count of 3, let's vote for our favourite fact. 1, 2, 3, go.
I'm pointing at Jen. I think Jen's won
Jen,
this one.
you have got 3 votes, my friend. Well done. You are going to look beautiful in your khaki shorts and button-up shirt.
Thank you. I will absolutely let this go to my head and I will immediately go mad with power. Right, if you would like to tell us your favourite variations of rock, paper, scissors or your favourite fact about Steve Irwin or any of the Irwin Empire, please do let us know. Either tweet us at our Twitter handles, which are in the bio of this podcast or in this YouTube link. Comment down below on the YouTube video. Like us, subscribe, and carry on listening in every week for more ridiculous, wonderful facts or everything you didn't need to know about. Thank you so much for listening and goodbye.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you.
Peace.